Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Let's Draw. I'm your host BJ Dell, and in today's new video tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can set up a seamless repeating pattern design in Procreate like the one you see here. It's super fun, super easy, so keep watching and I'll show you how. All right guys, let's go ahead and jump into the video. As always, I'm using the iPad Pro. This is a Gen 4 2020 model, 12.9 inch. Apple Gen 2 pencil. The app, of course, is Procreate, since, you know, this is a Procreate tutorial. And as you can see, I've got a bunch of different designs already up on the screen here. For the seamless pattern design tutorial, I decided rather than drawing everything out in the video and it being super long, I would just use some pre-made designs and just kind of import these onto the canvas. These are actually part of a Kawaii breakfast clip art pack that I made. Just posted this today for sale on Etsy and on GUMROAD, along with 5 other packs to go along with this. Some fruits and vegetables and sushi, bunch of fun different stuff. But these do come with full commercial rights. So if you guys do any print on demand stuff, want to purchase these to use in designs that you sell, you can do that. Like I said, I'll link those in the description below. But those are going to be the ones that we use today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my files here. I'm going to make a new folder here to save these in. So I'm going to go ahead and hit plus here, and we'll just call this seamless video. So that's where all these are going to be saved at. So I'm going to go back to Procreate now, and I'm going to go up to select here. And this is one of my favorite features, is that you can actually select multiple images at once, multiple canvases, and export them all at once. It saves a bunch of time. So now that I've got those selected, you can see I've got the backgrounds turned off, transparent backgrounds. So we're going to go ahead and share these as PNG or PNGs. It's going to take a second here to export. But like I said, this is a time saver because it does all of them at once. So all 15 of those designs are going to go out all at one time into that folder. So now that it's ready, I'm just going to go to Save to Files. And on my iPad, I'm just going to find that folder that I just made, Seamless Video. And we're going to save. All of them are there ready to go. So let's go ahead and X out of here now. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus button here to start a new canvas. And I'm going to do a 4000 by 4000 pixel 300 DPI canvas. Maximum layers that I get on this is 37 with the new iPad Pro. If you're using an older version or just a regular iPad, you probably won't have as many available layers. So if you want to drop this down to a lower resolution, you can, but I always recommend the higher the resolution, the better for print. So let's go ahead and create this, and we've got our canvas. We are ready to go. It's just a square. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to import all of those files onto this canvas. Of course, like I said, this is just to save time. If you want to start drawing directly on this canvas, you can. This is just going to allow me to do this quicker. So I'm going to go to Add. I'm going to go to Insert a File, and going to go to my Seamless Video. And the first one's the bacon. So I'm going to start to put these in here, kind of move them around on the canvas. So I will speed up this, do it time lapse, and come back once this is done. Okay, so I've got the designs laid in here. As you can see, I did not use the little Pop-Tart guy here yet, and I'll show you why here in a second. So next thing that we're going to do, we've got all these on separate layers. So I'm just going to pinch these all together so they are on one single layer like so. And then we need to make a new layer just by going up to the plus button here. So we've got another layer, and I'm going to pick a little bit of a darker color. Just do like a dark red here. And making sure that we're on that new layer, I'm just going to drag and drop this in on top. And then we want to adjust the opacity of this. So going up to Adjustments and Opacity, which you can also get to this through the Layers menu, but I like to do this in the videos because it's easier to see. We'll drop this to about 60% or so. All right, so there we go. We've got our 2 different layers. So now that this one's selected, we want to go ahead and slide layer 1 here to the right. This is going, or I'm sorry, to the right. It's going to allow us to select both of these and group them together. So now we've got a new group. So this is going to be one side of our design, but we need the alternate side. So we're going to slide this to the left and we're going to duplicate this one. So now we've got two different sets of the same group. I want to go ahead and turn off the top group here. So we're left with just this bottom one. Now we're going to start moving this around and start working on the seamless pattern. So by going up here to the arrow, we're going to get the bounding box here. Make sure uniform's turned on along with magnetic, and we're going to slide this to the left. As we slide, the reason magnetic is on, you can see it locks it right there to make sure that we're lined up correctly. And you can see on this right-hand side, there's a circle, and there's also a circle showing us where the middle is. So we just want that right circle to line up in the middle with that center circle. And there we go. It is locked in. We are good to go. So now we can do the same thing to the other side. So now that we've got that, let's go ahead and turn on this layer. And we're going to select this once again, going over to the arrow. And then we just need to slide this one to the right. Now you're going to see a few different things here. If we are too far away from each other, you're going to have a white line in the center. That means that they are not connected. Likewise, if you start to see this darker line, that means they're overlapping, and we don't want that either. So we want to make sure that they are perfectly lined up. It should give us a solid color of this from left to right. You can see there's still a line here, so that's too close together. They are overlapping. So to fix that, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our arrow up here again, and we're just going to tap a few times on the right hand side. This is going to nudge this to the right. And you'll see we've still got that there, so let's keep going. We went a little bit too far that time. And this is perfect. You can see there's no line there at all. Now, when you're using that nudge, make sure that your finger or your pencil is pretty much lined up right here with that center, because if you nudge up here, yes, it's going to nudge it to the right, but it's also going to nudge it up. So it's going to do a diagonal nudge, and you're going to be left with a little bit of the colors on the left and right. Same thing down here. If you do it that way, you're going to have a color line here of the white, and you don't want that. So make sure it's as close to that center line as possible so it doesn't nudge it up or down. Now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and delete our layers here that contain those colors, and we're left with this. So you can see when this breaks horizontally, the coffee cup here and here is going to match up. Same thing here, the little guy here, the croissant's going to match up here. Even here, it's kind of cool to see that little drip of syrup coming over from the pancake you can see over here. So when those line up from left to right, they're going to match. It's going to be seamless. But that's only left to right, so we need to do top to bottom now. So let's go ahead and do that. We can go ahead and group these together by pinching them and grouping here. Then we're going to repeat that process that we just did. So we're going to go ahead, make a new layer, drag and drop that color on top. Once again, going back up to our adjustments layer and going to opacity, sliding this down to around 60 something. Just so you can see it there, maybe a little bit lighter. And then once again, sliding this to the right. So we've got both of these selected and grouping those together. So we've got one new group like we did before. And then we need to slide this one to the left. And we're going to duplicate that one. So now, once again, just like before, we've got group one here on the top, group two, same exact thing. This time we're just going to move one up though and move the other one down. So let's turn off that top group, go back down to our bottom group, go back up to our arrow, and start to slide this up. Make sure that we're there in the center. Boom. And now going to our group up here at the top, turning that back on with the box there, selecting it, and arrow, dragging down. Once again, you can see the line here, so we need to nudge that down a little bit more. A couple more times. This is where you might have to zoom in really far to see, because if it's just, you know, one nudge, it's going to have a line that you're not even going to be able to see this far out. So make sure you get in really close, because otherwise it's not going to match up seamlessly. So that's perfect. We're good to go there. So let's go ahead then and turn off or delete the colors here and here. And we're left with a pretty finished design. From here too, if you wanted to go in and, you know, add maybe some little extra things around here, let's combine these. You know, you could add some extra dots to fill in some of the space as well. I would recommend, if you do decide to do that, I would probably start doing that beforehand. So once you start lining up the top to bottom, left to right, those are going to line up as well. Otherwise, you're going to have to stop around the edges, and then you're going to have some pretty big gaps, and it's really not going to look all that great. So now these little areas here, this is where I can go back in and going up to my wrench icon, inserting a file. I can throw in my little Pop-Tart guy and put him in here. Turn off magnetic just to kind of fill in some of the spaces. Do him just a few different times around, or here, if you wanted to just kind of alternate and bring in some of these other ones again, you could do that as well. Key here why this works is because you see these are all in the center. These aren't on the edges. So adding these in once we're done moving everything around, it's not going to affect our seamless pattern. Just because we've already got those added in, it's not going to mess up anything because they are away from the edges. So it's okay if you want to go back in and add more later towards the inside. Just make sure you're not doing it on the edges. Couple more in here. So we got big ones, we got small ones, we just got stuff pretty much everywhere. Just want to make sure there's enough space taken up and not too much white space floating around there. I think I want to add one more little guy right there. Let's do a little egg right there. Okay, there we go. So that's our finished design. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to go up to my wrench icon, and then I'm going to go to share. I'm going to export this just as a JPEG. We'll save it as that. So let's go ahead and just save image. So we've got that exported. So now before we see what this looks like on actual products, let's go ahead and see what it looks like on the canvas itself. So I'm going to go ahead and once again pinch all these together. I'm going to go back up to my arrow. We're going to go ahead and just drag this down, lock it in there. Then we're going to duplicate this one, slide it. And you can see once again here, it's not really lined up perfectly. So if we nudge it here to the side, you can see that lines up perfectly. So we had two completely separate images here that, because of the process that we just did, they line up perfectly. They don't have any seams. That's why it's called seamless. You can't tell that those are two separate images. So let's go ahead and group these together, or combine them, flatten them by pinching. And then we're going to slide this to the left and duplicate this one. And then we're going to go up with it. Again, getting in here a little bit tighter to make sure that these line up perfectly. There we go. Once again, absolutely perfect. No visible lines, no visible seams. So there is what it looks like on a canvas with the image multiplied the 4 times there. So we've got the ones matching up horizontally. We've also got the ones matching up vertically. So let's hop on over to Redbubble and check out what it looks like on products. All right, so now we're over on Redbubble. I'm going to show you exactly what these look like on products. So let's go ahead and upload new work here. We're going to go to photo library where we save that at. Select this, hit done. This is going to upload. So with this, once you see it, it's going to look a little weird here because it's just doing that basic square that we saved. But for these repeating seamless patterns, what they look really cool on is the leggings. These are just fantastic. So let's go ahead and hit disabled here. So these are enabled now. As we get in here, you can see everything's really big. You can't really tell that it's a seamless pattern. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop the size on the product down like this. And then we're going to go here to repeat, hit that little 4 square one here, and you can see this is going to be our seamless pattern repeated. It just looks really cool. Once these are cut, this is going to be exactly what it looks like. So just a really fantastic repeating pattern across here. Of course, stuff here is not going to line up because that's just the way that the stitching goes. You can't help that. But as far as the pattern goes around the whole design, it just looks super, super cool. And you can't tell, like I said, that it's a seamless pattern. So you can adjust the size. If you wanted to even go smaller, you could, and it looks just absolutely crazy. Just a ton of that stuff on there. And just play around with the size and exactly the positioning, exactly where you want everything. And you get something like that. All right, guys, so that is the seamless pattern design tutorial for Procreate. Hopefully you found it helpful today. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell for notifications so that you can get alerted when I post new videos. Also, if you guys do stuff like this and use any of the print-on-demand platforms, or if you don't and you're looking to learn how to make money with your art, I started a new podcast just for that. Interestingly enough, it's called Make Money With Your Art, and you can find it wherever you listen to podcasts, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio. It's out there everywhere. The link is in the description below, so definitely check that out. Also, join the Facebook group, Keep Creating. I'll link that down in the description as well. Place where you can make friends, share your art, give feedback, get feedback. It's an awesome place to be and want you guys to join. As for me, I can be found online, bjdell.com, as well as on Instagram and Twitter @bjdell. So until next time, keep creating.